Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
More than 15,000 vehicles cross the border into Laredo every single day. I'm Stefania Jimenez, and coming up, we're going to talk about how that has a direct impact on us 2 hours away in San Antonio.
Texas DPS and the military department join forces for Operation Steel Curtain. This is what it looks like, a row of shipping containers, and behind that, barbed wire. Coming up, we're live from Eagle Pass with more on the purpose behind the steel curtain.
And we'll take you live to the border in just a moment. But first, the burglars just let themselves in. UTSA officials trying to figure out how a master key got in the wrong hands earlier this week. That mishap leading to several burglaries in one of the dorm halls on campus.
Our Stephanie Gray spoke with UTSA police and students there who say this is a major security breach.
I am a little concerned. I was like, okay, that's a little iffy. It just kind of shocked me, I guess.
Monday morning, it was reported to us that there were multiple dorm rooms that had been entered at our Chisholm Hall residence.
One student reported that while they were in their dorm room, an unauthorized person used a key to enter.
That's a bit scary. Like, I don't know if someone's been in. Makes you wonder.
UTSA freshman Lucille Yamaguchi says her dog alerted her. She later learned.
My friend got his laptop taken. He had to turn it in to the police and get fingerprints screened. Like, it's just stupid.
UTSA police say they discovered several items had been stolen from multiple dorms, but have since been recovered. However, they did not say if they made an arrest, had a suspect in mind, or if that suspect was a student or an employee.
That is part of our active investigation.
They did say they have upped their security measures, like having all of the master keys reprogrammed and stored in a more secure location.
Since the security breach, UTSA police and security guards have maintained a visible presence right here at the residence hall while increasing patrol around the building. Resident assistants have also added additional walkthroughs and building checks each evening.
Students say they too are taking safety measures like hiding their valuable belongings.
Putting like chairs and stuff like on our doors to like cover it, and then I have like a door stopper I put under.
Very actively dedicating many of our resources to trying to determine how all of this occurred.
Stephanie Gray, KSAT 12 News.
New at 6, police say he went to the bank, to the airport, to the mall, and was then arrested. San Antonio police catching a bank robbery suspect as he tried to make his getaway. According to officers, 36-year-old Alexander Lancelot Hudson walked into the PNC Bank in the 6600 block of Blanco Road yesterday. He handed the teller a note demanding money. Once he got that cash, officers say he walked out through the back. Robbery detectives responded, talking to witnesses, looking at security video there as well. They say Hudson went to a nearby hotel and changed clothes, then got on that hotel shuttle and rode to the airport, telling a witness that he was heading out of state. After getting out at the airport, he did not get on a plane. According to investigators, Hudson went downstairs, flagged down a taxi, which then took him to Rolling Oaks Mall, and he paid for that fare with the bank's money.
With the cooperative video surveillance that we received, we were able to determine that the suspect exited the mall, and we were able to identify them with the information that they gave us.
Officers caught up to Hudson at a restaurant in the area where he was taken into custody. Detectives say it took about 4 hours from the time they got that call until they caught up to the suspect.
And now to the latest along the U.S.-Mexico border. Governor Greg Abbott doing what he says the federal government will not do.
Yesterday, we showed you that video of the steel shipping containers lined up along the river in Eagle Pass, forming a barrier there. The intent is to keep migrants from crossing into Texas illegally. But in Laredo, it's a different story, where the border crossing is open to vaccinated visitors with a visa.
Locals there hoping that daily traffic will bring businesses and commerce back to life following months of struggle due to the pandemic.
Laredo and Eagle Pass, each roughly 150 miles from San Antonio, and we have crews in both cities tonight. Alicia Barrera in Eagle Pass and Stefania Jimenez in Laredo, where we begin tonight's coverage. Stefania.
Well, good evening. I mean, it's still busy here right now, but busy in a different way. When we saw you at 5 o'clock, there was a lot of traffic heading over from Mexico into the U.S. And now what we're seeing is a lot of people going back home. into Mexico. But, you know, a lot of the people that we've seen going into the U.S., they're making an additional 2-hour drive to get to San Antonio. And what we're seeing is that obviously that's great for San Antonio commerce, great for retail there, not so good for business here in Laredo, because a lot of the business here they really depend on that foot traffic. A lot of the people who are crossing the border every day do so to make day trips. And we spoke with people who say that they're crossing the border at least once a week to shop. They're getting things like clothes, food, and other goods. Now, a lot of the local retailers near the border went out of business during the pandemic. So the people who are coming over from Mexico are taking longer drives, as we said, into San Antonio because we're such a major shopping hub there. That's obviously leaving local shop owners in a bad spot. There's just not as much foot traffic here as there used to be. Take a listen.
Yes, sir, because we don't make that much money. About this street, we are all these people. We make very little money. We make only $2, $3 a perfume original.
Sí están pasando, pero pues ha sido por otras, ¿verdad? Otras cosas, ¿verdad? Por las vacunas, por decir. Pero ahorita, esperemos a ver ahora en este mes de diciembre más, que levante más las ventas.
La Navidad.
Para la Navidad, sí.
Yeah, that's exactly what people are looking forward to. Now, in the meantime, shops in San Antonio, we know that they are ready because the Chamber of Commerce in South San Antonio was telling us that in the 21 months that the border was closed to non-essential travel, our region, our city alone, missed out on $400 million in revenue. So they're hoping to make that up between now and obviously the holidays. So right now, the focus in Laredo is really on commerce. A lot of businesses here are hoping to get more people to come in and come to their local shops because they want to stay open. But if we go to Eagle Pass, which is where our colleague Alicia Barrera is, the situation there, the focus is really on border security. And now Alicia joins us now live. She's going to have more on Operation Steel Curtain. Alicia.
Stefania, good evening. Well, the way it works here has worked for at least the last 24 hours. People who live in Eagle Pass, they'll drive up to the border here at this park. They'll pull out their phones, and what they want to do, they want to snap a picture of these boxes here. That way they can give their followers on Facebook, their family, a first look. And these shipping containers are an extension of Operation Lone Star. If you remember, that was launched by Governor Greg Abbott this year after that wave of migrants, of Haitian migrants, made their way to Del Rio, and that's exactly what these shipping containers are trying to stop. This operation is under the direction of Governor Greg Abbott, and it was yesterday that the shipping containers, which are being called part of the Operation Steel Curtain, as well as a row of barbed wire, was set up. There are about 20 shipping containers, and they stretch along the Texas side of the Rio Grande, and they pass directly under the Eagle Pass Piedras Negras International Bridge, and it's the soldiers from the Texas National Guard that since yesterday have been keeping a very close eye on this sector of the border. Between each of the clusters of the shipping containers, you can see, if you look really closely, you'll spot those military vehicles, the Humvees. And that's where soldiers watch every move made by those just a short distance away in Piedras Negras.
It's a good idea, yes, because I have seen that the caravan is on its way down here. I watched that on the news. And it's a lot of people that are coming down here and trying to cross down to the United States. And I mean, this is a good form of stopping them.
And in a statement to KSAT, DPS said they can't comment about ongoing operations, but they are, quote, monitoring the situation along the border to make real-time decisions and adjust operations as necessary, end quote. Meanwhile, here in Eagle Pass, it doesn't matter what time of the day it is. Again, agents, both federal, local, and state, are keeping a close eye on what's going on here. It may be too soon to tell if Operation Steel Curtain will work. As we mentioned earlier in the 5, already we saw a family of 5 successfully cross their way into Eagle Pass here on the Texas side. Stefania, back to you.
All right, Alicia, and thank you so much for that live report. Alicia, you know, Alicia is in Eagle Pass, and also where I am in Laredo, both are they're 150 miles away from each other. We're both 2 hours away from San Antonio, but obviously we're not that far apart, but it's a different situation. I mean, there where Alicia Barrera is, the focus is on border security. Here, it's really on the local economy. We know that a lot of the local shops here are really keeping their fingers crossed. They're looking ahead to Christmas time because that's what they're hoping will revive and give their businesses an extra boost during the holidays, because if you walk up and down here in Laredo, you see a lot of shops here near the border that are shut down. So business owners here are suffering, and they're hoping that just as the border opened to non-essential travelers, that they'll be able to get in some of that traffic so that their businesses are able to survive. And that's what you're going to hear more about when we see you tonight on the Night Beat. For now, we're live here in Laredo. Stefania Jimenez, KSAT 12 News. Myra, Steve, back to you.
Two very different pictures. Stefania and Alicia, thanks to both of you.
All right, let's switch over to the weather situation right now, and the fact that a cold front certainly came through. And it hasn't even got as cold as it's going to get yet, Adam.
Yeah, temperature's definitely taking a dive tonight. Once these clouds clear out, remember the clouds act as a bit of a blanket at night, but we're expecting them to clear out locally, and for most of our area, temperature's taking a dive. Now, this is a little misleading. High temperature of 70, that happened at midnight. Okay, cold front came through in this afternoon. We were only in the lower 60s. Right now, some 50s in the hill country. Comfort 57, 58 Bandera, 60 right now in Uvalde, 61 Gonzales, 56 Helotes. Meanwhile, 65 on the south side at Stinson. Temperatures falling through the 50s this evening, and tomorrow morning we'll see widespread 40s, some areas in the upper 30s. Wide range of temperatures. I'll break that down for you and talk about what could be an active pattern closer to Thanksgiving coming right up.
Residents off Drexel and Hackberry say an establishment at this intersection is to blame for fights, shootings, and disturbances. Tonight on the Night Beat, we hear from the people who live here.
Supply chain issues and the pandemic pushing more people towards local farms. What does this mean for the organic farmers? On the Night Beat.
Seeing a lot of red out there. Lots of brake lights on the road this evening.
Our Samuel King joins us now with the very latest. Sam.
Good evening, Stephen Meyer. This is I-10 at Proband, or the view from I-10 and Proband of the I-10-35 Highway 90 interchange there. And as Myra said, you can see the brake lights there. So let's get a wider view of this. A lot of that activity. You can get out of the way here. Here comes an ambulance. So apparently there's some sort of crash or some other sort of situation close by there. So you can see people trying to make way for an ambulance there. Getting onto I-10 westbound, I-35 northbound heading toward downtown. Just to the east of there gives you an idea of that delay. Westbound 20 minutes now from 410 to I-37 on I-10. Only 5 minutes the other way. So that gives you an idea of the delay there. Looking at rest of the area, things starting to improve, but we still have some situations here and there, including on Highway 151. Also some slowdowns as we typically see this during the evening time. 14 miles per hour heading on 281 southbound toward downtown, and some slowdowns on the north side on Loop 410, 11 minutes between 281 and I-10. But again, this situation here hopefully will be clearing up shortly, but you can see the volume there on I-10 near the 35 interchange. Coming in the next half hour, info on a traffic shift on the far north side, and you might have noticed some different signage around town. We'll have a look at that in the next half hour. Steve, Myra?
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Sam. Look outside with Sky 12. This is a pretty picture, and it feels nice, too. 61 degrees out there.
Yeah, seasonal feeling outside, Adam.
Yeah, feels like fall again outside. It got rid of the humidity, and we're really just going to have a brief little stint in return of the humidity by Sunday. Very brief. So if you don't like the humidity, we've got a nice stretch of weather for you. Feeling the chill tonight, we'll go over what we're expecting in terms of low temperatures. You'll want the jacket ready, especially first thing tomorrow morning. We warm up a bit this weekend, and then rain possible by Thanksgiving. We're going to talk about the shift in our weather pattern that could happen late next week. But let's start with the newest drought monitor, because this actually relates to some shower activity that we've had today and we still have ongoing. So the newest drought monitor, of course, updated every Thursday. This indicates the areas of drought just south and west of San Antonio, basically from the border, Eagle Pass to Laredo, northeastward toward Pleasanton. west of 281, south of Highway 90 there. But let's take a look at what the cold front did in terms of shower activity. And in that part of our area, we actually had a few showers out there earlier today and still have some lingering areas of rain. So it's nice to see that from Cotulla eastward toward Tilden, Fowlerton area. It's nice to see this here. Just south of Pleasanton, Atascosa County, Frio, LaSalle County, a few showers as well. But this is all southwest of town, and still some of this activity is lingering where we have the thicker clouds southwest of San Antonio, just dotting the landscape a little bit here and there. So it's nice to see some of those showers where we actually need the rain. I mean, I know it's not a lot of rain, but if we're going to get it, at least we got it in the right spot where we really need it. Of course, we could be adding to that as we get into next week. And closer to the valley, actually some heavier rainfall earlier today and earlier this morning at midday. Here's the big pattern though. Upper level disturbance over Canada there, over Ontario. Snow showers, Great Lakes. Another system coming on shore in the Pacific Northwest. That's good. They need the moisture out west. They still need it. They're getting it in Northern California and into the Rockies. Those aren't really going to be affecting us here. And our overall pattern is going to be quiet for us over the next several days. Well, disturbance drops into the Northland Sunday. That'll swing a weak cold front through our area, just modifying temperatures a bit. But early next week, we start to keep our eyes on the eastern Pacific. Two disturbances out there, one off the Pacific Northwest and one closer to the Baja Peninsula. These are likely to come together as one and then potentially dig southward into northern Mexico by Thanksgiving. That's important because when these upper lows drop into northern Mexico, they usually tap into Pacific moisture and send the energy right our way over San Antonio and other parts of Texas. So right now it looks like the odds favor an active pattern by Thanksgiving. The big question is, where exactly is the heaviest rain going to set up and when? I anticipate it somewhere over Texas. It even could be us. There's the potential for some heavy rainfall by Thanksgiving. So rain chances return them. Right now we have it at 40%, but I promise you this forecast will be changing significantly in the days ahead. So if rain could hamper your plans on Thanksgiving, you need to check back in frequently. Don't just go by what we say right now, but especially early next week, we'll be fine-tuning those details. Whether either more rain or less rain, we'll keep you updated. But right now, the pattern should get pretty active late next week. 62 right now. The winds have died down a little bit, northeast at about 9 miles per hour, and they'll continue to subside through the night and into tomorrow as well. Still some gusts around 20 miles per hour this evening, but it's going to be the exception rather than the norm. Temperatures now 50s in the hill country, 60s elsewhere. By tomorrow morning, this is what we're expecting. 39 in Kerrville, Fredericksburg, and Rock Springs, 41 Canyon Lake, about 50 though in Carrizo Springs. Along the Rio Grande will be closer to 50 degrees because of the clouds hanging around. But most of us lower 40s in the morning. By the afternoon, we're well into the 60s, so still a little below average. We'll have some sunshine, not much of a breeze out there. And as I mentioned, our next rain chances really come Thanksgiving. You'll have to stay tuned for those details.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
All right, Spurs in Minneapolis. It is cold in Minneapolis, not surprising, but we're hoping the Spurs can heat up.
Yeah, and in particular, Spurs really probably need Derek White to heat up. He's been struggling this season. Some fans have been like, hey, Pop, you should bench him, but Pop has been sticking with them, and Derek White really appreciates that. Plus, New Braunfels football is ready to take on the best team in the state. Coming up. Spurs will close out their 3-game road trip tonight at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Another chance for Derek White to break out of his early season slump. Some of his stats are down compared to last season, but Pop is sticking with him, which means the world to White.
Yeah, it's been huge. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but just trying to fight through it. I mean, coach has been supportive, team has been real supportive, so just got to stay with it and know that it's going to come around.
Spurs and T-Wolves will go down tonight at 7 from the Target Center. This morning, Spurs Sports and Entertainment broke ground on its $500 million human performance campus, which will be known as the Rock at La Cantera. This project reinforces the Spurs and SS&E's long-term commitment to the community and their desire to ensure future growth and development in San Antonio.
It's for the community, and it's for impact for really a broad-based aspect of stakeholders, not just the Spurs. And that's what will make this successful in the long term, is that it's all about service to others.
The multi-phase project will extend across 45 acres and will include a 22-acre park. The big game coverage road trip tomorrow night will kick off at Rattler Stadium in San Marcos and will feature New Braunfels and Austin Westlake in a Class 6A Division II second round contest. The Unicorns are number 6 in 12's top 12, while the Chaps are number 1 in the state. No matter the outcome tomorrow night, this playoff run is the last ride for the Unicorn seniors.
I love this team to death, and I'd lay my life down for any of them, and I think they'd do the same for me, and it's the best brotherhood, and I know I'll have them by my side for the rest of my life.
It's our last year, and I've played football with these guys for years now, so we're just gonna leave it out on the field and give it our best like we do every game.
Kick is tomorrow night at 7 at San Marcos High School. Kenyon Volleyball is making program history just by arriving in Garland today. This is the Cougarettes' 12th appearance all-time at state, and they're preparing to play their 16th match. But this year's squad has never played at the Curtis Colwell Center. So how do they prepare for playing their biggest match of the season in an unfamiliar environment?
Just knowing that you're going to be maybe uncomfortable, and we've been in situations where like tournaments, like you don't know where you're going to get, you don't know where you're going to play, so just trying to remember back to those and just like stick to your mechanics as well.
I feel like we focus on our huddle, our court, and focus on not just them, like of course focus on them, but not focus on them most of the time, focus on us and focus on our side.
Friday's Class 5A state semifinal match against Grapevine is set for 1 p.m. And in Class 6A, the Brandeis Broncos will play Bridgeland in the state semifinals. The Broncos are ranked number 23 in the land by Max Preps, and they've won 23 straight matches. Of the 17 players on the roster, 10 are seniors, and they want to lead Brandeis to a state championship.
As a big group of seniors, we're all super close to each other as well as the underclassmen. So just having this opportunity to go out our senior year at state is just amazing.
Brandeis and Bridgeland will play tomorrow at 5 p.m. at the Curtis Colwell Center. And both Brandeis and Canyon left today for Garland. Both teams posted a lot on social media, and the video was awesome just seeing all the support they got.
I was going to say, I bet they got a good send-off.
They did indeed.
Yeah, thanks, Larry.
Our KSAT Q&A is coming up next. More and more children as young as 5 now getting vaccinated against COVID-19 just in time for the holidays. That might sound odd to say that, but that's something a lot of parents have been eager to see happen. In today's KSAT Q&A, we have pediatric infectious disease Dr. Tess Barton from UT Health San Antonio to join us to talk about COVID and children with these holidays coming up. I think the biggest question for a lot of parents who may still be waiting to get their kids vaccinated, curious about what you've seen in terms of reactions for kids who have gotten the shot so far. What's been popping up that you've seen?
So by far the most common things that we've seen are those sort of nuisance reactions, especially sore arms, a little bit of fever, some headaches, some feeling bad for a few days, maybe even missing school for a day or two. I've been working in the hospital and in my clinic, and we actually haven't seen any kids. I haven't seen any kids with myocarditis. In discussing with some of our local pediatric infectious disease colleagues, because we chat once a week, it sounds like there may have been a couple of cases around town, but that's about it. Overall, the experience has been really good.
Again, an explanation for people at home what myocarditis is.
Myocarditis is a type of a heart inflammation that can be caused by viruses or caused by immune system reactions to certain infections. It's something that we see with COVID infection. It's something we see with other viruses, and it's a rare side effect of the COVID vaccine.
And it's not something that's long-term?
No. All of the cases that have been reported from the vaccine have been relatively mild and resolved.
Talk about Thanksgiving coming up, and then, of course, the Christmas right behind it. How concerned are you that we're going to see another spike in numbers because of so many people gathering together over the holidays?
Well, a little bit. Certainly when people get together, they get together inside. It's getting chilly outside. And I think that, after putting off a lot of holiday activities. A lot of families delayed it last year or scaled it down, and I know everybody's really eager to get together. So, there is a risk when you get people who don't have any immunity yet in a group setting with their faces uncovered, laughing and hanging out together, that there's a risk of transmission.
But this time last year, people weren't vaccinated, not nearly as they are now. So, we had advice about only sticking to your family unit. If you're having people together, space them out in the driveway on, folding tables and things like that. So are you thinking that, how much of a role will the vaccine play in whatever kind of increase we do see after Thanksgiving?
So I think, we're all hopeful that actually maybe we've reached that magical point of population immunity that we won't see quite the same surge. Who's left to be vaccinated are the young people, right? The kids. So they're the ones who has just become available for them. We're doing great in San Antonio, actually, with our adult vaccination rates, and especially for older people. But we know the vaccine's not quite as effective in older people as it is in younger people. So getting those younger people vaccinated will help to protect the older people, at Christmas, so they can go hang out with grandma and grandpa at Christmas.
And that's what I want to talk about, the timing. Is there still time to be vaccinated before Christmas?
There is. So the vaccine doses are 3 weeks apart. So we're, 1 week away from Thanksgiving. You get a little bit of immunity after the first dose, but you really get your robust immunity after the second dose.
So there's still time to be fully vaccinated before you go to grandma's house.
Absolutely. I would start it this week.
What do you tell parents who are still waiting? They're still thinking about it. It's something they're interested in, but they just haven't done it yet.
I totally understand, right? Because this has been a really unprecedented timeline for getting a vaccine. What I can say is that between the clinical trials that show us that this vaccine is extremely effective and very safe, and our huge clinical experience of hundreds of millions of people who have been vaccinated around the country, including teenagers, is that the safety profile of this vaccine is very good. And so I think that the benefits of getting to a level of immunity where kids can get back to their regular lives and where families don't have to worry about who's at home, who might be vulnerable to getting infected, is really great. And so I say, the experience has been good. Talk to your pediatrician, get advice. But don't wait until we have another surge. Don't wait and take your chances on hospitalizations and more deaths.
I know you're probably sick of answering this question, but it seems like everybody that doesn't get the vaccine is at least using this as part of the excuse. Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, who just came down with COVID, used it as an excuse. Is there any evidence that these vaccines cause infertility?
No, absolutely not. We actually know this from a lot of different things. So from clinical trials and actually for some other interesting trials in young men and in women. So there's no evidence that the vaccine impacts infertility. The vaccine and the disease can both impact women's menstrual cycles temporarily. But there were plenty of pregnancies that have occurred in vaccinated people. Sperm counts are good in men who have been vaccinated based on research studies on that. So no, there's no evidence that there's any infertility problems.
And even pregnant women are encouraged to get that booster whenever they're pregnant, at any point in pregnancy. It's been very important to see that happen. Dr. Tess Spartan, always appreciate you sharing some time with us. We hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Doctor. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. If you have been out and about today, you might have noticed a change on the TxDOT signs around town. Well, meep meep. After some requests from Twitter users, the TxDOT San Antonio district found a way to incorporate some UTSA Roadrunner spirit on its safety signs. This one says, "Be safe, drive smart. Go UTSA, birds up, phones down." Just trying to keep up with it, but the traffic going there. Our Andrew and Brina, our executive producer, went out there and got this video for us. This is on I-35. Of course, UTSA meets UAB at the Alamo Dome this weekend. A big game there. Birds up, phones down, go Roadrunners. Now let's take a look at traffic and construction this evening. First, we'll start with a big map here looking at the area, and we still have a lot of issues on the roads this evening, especially here on the southeast side there, 37 and Loop 410. We're going to take you up to the north side, North Bexar County. There's a 281 project north of TPC Parkway up to Bulverde Road. Highway 281 North project. There's a traffic shift here. So as you know, if you drive up there, you kind of have to weave your way through the construction. So it's going to be a shift there. There will be signage. This all begins tomorrow as the project continues north of TPC Parkway up to Bulverde Road. Also, Loop 1604 project 281 to Stone Oak Parkway have those alternating lane closures as they ramp up the project between 281 and I-10. We'll have more on that tomorrow during KSAT 12 news here at 6 o'clock. Also looking at travel times on 281, some delays southbound, 19 minutes to downtown, 13 minutes heading northbound on 281. And this is the south side, I-35 and Division. You can see the slow traffic. Plenty of time to read those signs there if you're sitting in traffic this evening on 35. Steve and Myra.
Thank you, Samuel. Live look outside with live cam tonight, 61 degrees out there. And I noticed Thanksgiving is now in the 7-day forecast. And it's an interesting forecast right now for Thanksgiving, Mr. Caskey.
Yes, and if rain can get in the way or just hamper your Thanksgiving Day plans at all, whether it be travel or your activities, you're going to want to be checking back in frequently between now and then. 62 degrees currently at the airport. Winds out of the northeast at about 9 miles per hour, so it's subsiding quite a bit. We'll be quickly down into the 50s over the next couple of hours, and then 40s by tomorrow morning. Low to mid 40s for most of us. We're thinking about 44 around San Antonio. So jacket weather when you step out first thing tomorrow morning. Temperatures will yo-yo a bit, and we'll talk about that potentially active pattern coming up.
All right, the cold front is here, cooler weather, but how quickly are temperatures going to fall off here tonight, Adam?
Well, pretty quickly. It's that time of day when temperatures start to drop. Now, we do have a little bit of cloud cover still overhead, so that's insulating us a bit right now, but those clouds should be clearing out, and we're going to feel the chill tonight and first thing tomorrow. Warmer by the weekend, and then rain chances back in the forecast by Thanksgiving. I know it may not be the perfect timing, but we'll talk about it here and get into what we know so far. 62 degrees currently. That dew point's down into the 30s and even some dew points in the 20s. So we've got that lack of mugginess in the air, and the wind is starting to subside northeast at about 10 miles per hour. So not as gusty as what we had earlier today when gusts were between 30 and 40 miles per hour. Across the state, you look at those temperatures, and for the most part, we've got some 50s, but now dipping down into the 40s off to the north. 46 in Lubbock, Amarillo 45. Meanwhile, we're 62 here in San Antonio, Del Rio 64, and Eagle Pass at 61. Now, as we go through the night, those temperatures falling off, and this is what we're expecting the map to look like tomorrow morning. Closer to the Rio Grande and right along the border here, near 50 degrees because of the clouds really sticking around. And we still have a few showers in this part of our area, Maverick County, even stretching into Zavala and Frio County. So those clouds holding tight, insulating them closer to 50, just for those of you south and west of San Antonio. But in the hill country, upper 30s, even Canyon Lake 41, Gonzales 43, Stone Oak 43. Tomorrow morning in Lake Hills 43, Bernie 39 degrees. Tomorrow morning, Elmendorf and Von Army 46. Our morning temperatures will still be chilly again Saturday, mid 40s, but by Sunday we jump back up into the lower 60s. It's going to be short-lived though, because a weak cool front's going to reset those temperatures again for early next week. So the typical yo-yo effect of our temperatures, up and down, roller coaster temperatures, pretty common this time of year. Luckily, the wind has subsided quite a bit right now out of the northeast at about 10 miles per hour and continuing to diminish and calm down a bit. It was nice to see the rain south of town today. That was good. That's where we need it. Still a few lingering light showers west of I-35 and south of Highway 90, Maverick, Zavala County, LaSalle County, and even clipping parts of Frio County there. So some showers still off to our west, but our skies should gradually clear over San Antonio and the rest of us through the night. There's still an active pattern. It's just the storm track is off to the north of us. Great Lakes, southern Canada, even New England, Pacific Northwest. Hey, they need that moisture in the western U.S. I like seeing it there. But we are anticipating some changes as we get into early next week. pretty quiet here through the weekend and even Monday, Tuesday time frame. But come early next week, we're anticipating 2 big upper level systems in the Pacific. Those should come together as one. And right now, indications are that it would drop down into northern Mexico, positioning itself to throw energy and moisture our way and giving us a favorable spot for rain showers and maybe even some thunderstorms. So an active weather pattern could start to form late next week, which means rain chances return by Thanksgiving. Right now we've got scattered activity. There is the potential for some widespread heavy rainfall. We just don't know exactly where and how much yet. So it's something that still we need to fine tune quite a bit. Again, if rain could impact your Thanksgiving at all, you need to be checking back in, especially early next week as we get a better idea of the situation. But tomorrow in the 40s by the afternoon, we're well into the 60s. And we'll have some sunshine returning again tomorrow. 66 Timberwood Park and 67 around most of San Antonio. 70s by this weekend, briefly humid on Sunday. Then that cool front gets rid of the humidity for next week. And right now we've got that 40% chance on Thanksgiving. Again, this forecast will be changing for Thanksgiving between now and then, particularly because those upper level cutoff lows are very and notoriously finicky in the extended forecast. You need to get closer in time in order to pin them down.
Finicky.
Oh, those cutoffs in the extended forecast are really a challenge, and you need a lot more time. But let's switch gears here. Thermsters! I want to remind everybody the time is almost here, and I've been working really hard. Take a look at this. Really hard on the annual Christmas ornament giveaway. It's coming. We've been making the ornaments, the backboards, getting them engraved. Keep my pal David Durbin very busy at Monarch Trophy, laser engraving them. So they're getting done right now. I've been making the scales the past couple of days. Remember, each scale is unique to the given thermometer. I don't just make a bunch of the same scale, print them out, and oh, here it is. No. Every thermometer is calibrated and has its own scale, own range, own resolution. And every so often, I get an elf and a helper to come on in the shop and help me out. So I will be starting this Monday after Thanksgiving, okay? 2 ornaments per day announced during the 5 and 6 o'clock newscasts, Monday the 29th. Go to ksat.com/thermometer to enter the drawing. Today's thermometer winner, a regular one, Charlene Fernandez of San Antonio, the Charlene Fernandez, who just got an email from me. So ksat.com/thermometer. I love this time of year. I love putting the tree up and giving away 2 thermometers every day.
You know, when I tell people you don't drink coffee, they don't believe me.
It's really true. Could you imagine if he did?
Decaf.
I know.
Sometimes half calf.
Yeah. In case you missed it, coming up next.
Half calf. Here's today's in case you missed it.
Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, November 18th. A woman is dead this morning after being hit by a car while crossing a West Side street. That's where police say a woman was walking across the parkway when she was hit by a person driving a car. Crews tried to perform CPR on the scene, but were not successful in saving her. She died there at the scene. A neighbor called police around 3:30 this morning. Investigators found shell casings in the street, which could lead them to the shooter. They also found a man suffering from a gunshot wound. He was taken to a hospital by ambulance in stable condition.
They are starting to get a little overwhelmed by all the rain now. This is happening in northern border town of Sumas, Washington, right across the border from Abbotsville, British Columbia, where they are watching their pump station because if it fails, that means more water for Sumas. About 75% of the homes in Sumas have already been inundated with floodwaters from all that heavy rain this week. The good news is the waters are starting to recede. However, there are parts of the city now without power.
Salvation Army gearing up for its annual Red Kettle campaign, which raises money to help fund its year-round initiatives. This year, they're facing a shortage of bell ringers. The Red Kettle campaign kicks off tomorrow officially. It runs through December 24th. The organization wants to make sure every site is staffed every day.
Back here at home, the Spurs top brass is on hand for groundbreaking ceremonies on their new Spurs state-of-the-art performance center. It's all part of a $500 million legacy project called the Rocket Lock and Terra, as in pounding the rock, that will extend across 45 acres and feature Human Performance Research Center, a 22-acre park, a public outdoor event center, and medical, hospitality, and office use. Today's ceremony officially opened phase 1 of the project, which is the Spurs Performance Center.
Still a couple of issues out there on the roads. We'll start on 281. There's a crash reported there at Basse. You can see some delays southbound, south of Basse there. Also still some slowdowns on I-37, particularly around Military and south of there, 8 minutes between I-10 and Loop 410. And we have this crash on 37 at Jones in a pretty inconvenient spot right there in the middle. So watch out for that if you are heading downtown this evening. Give you a wide view of that before we toss over to Adam.
All right, and Sam, tomorrow morning in the 40s, feeling the chill. By the afternoon, sunny and 60s. So a comfortable afternoon. And by the weekend, we're well into the 70s. You'll notice humidity on Sunday, but that's it. Otherwise, it's gone again, and maybe a stray shower or two Sunday afternoon. Only a 20% chance. Right now, it's looking like better odds of rain as we get into Thanksgiving. Of course, we'll be fine-tuning that forecast as the time nears, so check back in.
I'm going to have to check back in because I was distracted by the turkey.
Yeah.
Sticking its there it is. Thanks for watching.
It's a turkey sticking its neck out.